super early here.
Interesting. They decided that they're not sure if they really want Camille. They do know they want to grab Jhin in this round and say, you know, we want to make sure that our third pick can react to what Envy has grabbed. We know we still want Jhin at some point. They say, no, we really did want Camille, but we knew we wanted Jhin. We just wanted to deliberate a little bit longer. And hey, that's smart. It's using the bans appropriately, or in the pick time appropriately.
We wanted to make sure that if Looper wants it, he has to trade for it. We want to make life hard on him. Practice his trading mechanics. Don't want to mess that up. But the time these guys did play Camille, they actually played it as support. So it is actually more of a flex pick for Echo Fox than it would be for other teams.
They said, Gate, with the Zyra and Graves ban, are you okay with the rest of the support matchups available? And he's like, don't worry, I can handle the Taric, I can handle the Corki support, we're good on this one. Corki himself going to be grabbed up as well, so double marksman, plenty of poke, and of course, no surprise seeing two of the most premier champions in the mid and bot lane role picked up so far for Envy.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily know what the full power picks are yet. They can be picked into every matchup, so Envy going with the very safe things so far, since they haven't been able to counterpick any of their choices thus far, since they don't know where Camille is going. So makes sense with what they have so far.
I just like the fact that Camille can be flexed into almost every single role, and it really actually makes it confusing here. Now, of note, Twisted Fate and Anivia both left up available for Froggen, but it's not going to be the pickup just yet. Lee Sin going to be grabbed, and oh, that's interesting. No other junglers were picked up so far in the pick ban phase, so you'd expect to see double Echo Fox jungle bans, and Akaadian really prioritizing this Lee Sin as a top-tier pick.
Yeah, I can see that he doesn't want to get any extra junglers banned away. There's definitely a potential pinch on junglers in the upcoming ban phase. And when they had the last choice of what they pick here, they essentially kind of get to opt into what they want the bans to be. Interesting that they end up picking the Lee and then not banning out a jungler first off with that Jace.
Yeah, but they're more concerned about Jace. They're going to wait to see what the other bans end up being. There's the Twisted Fate. You maybe expect Anivia to be next up on the table since Froggen has not picked his mid laner so far. And
yeah,
those are easy one-sided bans where we know Envy won't play him, but we know Echo Fox sure will.
Yeah, if I was actually banning against Echo Fox, I would be okay with Froggen having the Anivia. It's his most played champion, but also one of his least successful. They're 1-5 when he plays it so far this split. Hasn't found serious success on it yet, and while it could be good to stall out games against Team Envy, and I could see that being a ban nonetheless, I'm actually more scared of Froggen's Rise or Twisted Fate or even his Orianna or Victor.
Sure, absolutely, and we'll see if that ends up being the same thought that Team Envy goes through. Singed, I had the S letter wrong. Singed picked up as the final ban, and again, you talk about scary things Echo Fox can play, and yeah, Singed definitely a looper special. He's got his own skin, and it means Envy are probably going to try to play a tank top because you wouldn't ban if you're playing Fiora.
Yeah, this is going to become super interesting now as we're going to be able to reveal where Echo Fox is going. When they lock in the Maokai, that confirms that the Camille is either going mid lane or support. We still don't know because of how many places that champ has been played in the competitive game. Locking in the Maokai, especially with Singed and Jace off the board, kind of dares Seraph to play a carry or opt into a tank versus tank matchup.
Yeah, Shen was going to be the almost obvious go-to after that. We saw them play a bit of that earlier on. That's going to be the grab. They need a jungler still. Elise and Lee Sin and the prior bans off the table, and that will be Team Envy rounding out their lineup. Echo Fox, yeah, choosing to the very end to round out theirs, and Rek'Sai going to be the jungle pickup. We still have the double flex pick, well, single flex pick at this point, sorry. We know Maokai's top, so we question, is that Camille support or is that Camille mid? I gotta say, I don't know the Camille Corki matchup. I don't know if it's good or not.
Yeah, I actually expect it to be bottom lane. Just the last time they did the Camille support, they did it with a Jhin against a Malzahar, so all of those pre-existing positions are kind of the same.
Yep. And support, it is Syndra in the mid lane going to match up against Corki. We expect the early Hexstringer to keep him alive, and we've seen this matchup play out many times. Seems to be a fairly close one. Yeah. Long-range tools on both sides.
Interesting draft phase. I definitely feel like Envy has ended up with a very generic comp, which kind of speaks to the fact that they weren't counter-picking hardly anything. They were just trying to kind of power pick. They got the strong poking champions with very damage threats in the Corki and the Varus. And then they just pretty much have a generic tank line with Shen and Rek'Sai. Whereas if you look over at Echo Fox, they definitely have a little bit more kill pressure, I feel like, in some of their lanes with the Syndra and the Lee Sin ganking combo. Can potentially be very lethal, which is why I see Ninja with the exhaust.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun one to watch for as we get ourselves through the rest of picks and bans. Camille support going to be the exciting one this time, and it's 100% of Echo Fox games where when they do play Camille, Gate ends up picking it up for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is so fitting. We got to hear Akaadian talk about how they're open to doing different things, and now we're not even surprised to see Camille support anymore. As soon as it's locked in, we're like, Gate will play that support. The only person in the world, no, one player actually did it over in the LPL, Gate was telling me, so one of only 2 people in the world to do Camille support on the pro level.
Yeah, and Gate, one of only few people in the world to win games in several roles in professional play as well. He's won mid, top, and support, and still waiting for him to become a jungler at some point. But maybe one of these days, maybe he'll truly carry in the bot lane as well. But picks and bans are over and ready to load into the game. So let's get ready for Team EnVy, hoping to resuscitate their season here in the back half of Week 5. Echo Fox hoping to break their own curse as Game 1 begins. And Echo Fox, a 4-4 team in the North American LCS. They've lost every match in odd weeks. They've won every match in even weeks. And this time they could break the curse. This could be a 2-0 match week for them. EnVy, you expect them to be the easy opponent, sitting at 1-8, but you got to see if they can do it.
Exactly. This is also EnVy's last game of the week, so getting things wrapped up on the Saturday. Then after this, there is an off week because some teams are going to IEM Katowice, and then they will come back in 2 weeks for Week 6 of the LCS. And EnVy has been no stranger to actually getting gold leads or keeping games close up until about 20 minutes, but it has been a disaster since then. And it's pretty interesting because that was kind of the situation Echo Fox was in last split, where a lot of it just felt really hopeless, and it is not an easy fix to be able to close out games, but that is something that EnVy desperately need to do.
It was very interesting. I remember hearing from Akaadian, who releases vlogs every week. I really recommend if you want to get an insight into how Echo Fox and specifically Akaadian are playing. He posts them every week, and they show up on Reddit usually. He was talking about all the matches that they actually lost in, I forget if it was Week 1 or Week 3, where they had got these big early leads and managed to throw it away. And he was saying, yeah, we just got too excited. I tried to force too many plays. We needed to play more passively, which was a concern because that was why Echo Fox did badly last year. But they've managed to balance it out properly where they're not overextending, but they are closing games out. And it's been a good mix for them. Seraph wants to maybe stop the saplings. Can't do it. Looper protects it.
Yeah, and Phreak, your point there is so interesting to contrast to EnVy because EnVy has the same problems Echo Fox was kind of trying to overcome in those senses, and it's almost Ninja who gets a little bit too aggressive sometimes. They're not able to do it cleanly. Ninja constantly seems to be the one that is getting picked off when they have those leads, and that's where Echo Fox has had to pull back, and EnVy just hasn't been able to set up the right plays.
We'll see if they can find a way to do it. Really poke onto Ninja at the very beginning of this one. Do you want to point out, we saw, of course, the Maokai sapling spam at the beginning. It's another jungle raptor start, especially good, of course, with the Maokai. But Looper actually stole one of the small raptors, and so it meant that Akaadian didn't hit level 2 until after killing the big one.
Yep.
Which slowed him down a little bit.
Yeah, and we actually see Akaadian trying to do a quick gank in the top lane because he's already level 3. He's hoping Seraph wants to taunt forward, but he's just going to end up going.
And he's going to look for it. He will have a ward to jump to. He's level 3 after all. Seraph gets the shield, and there's really not much for Akaadian to do. Jumps in for the attack anyway. Exerts dominance, and he's going to recall on the brush, I assume.
Yeah, so not the greatest gank by Akaadian, but would potentially make him vulnerable to a counter jungle, but that is not where LirA is positioned.
Yeah, and Gate just went in really far. He was behind Apollo on that one and got chunked down to half HP. Otherwise, though, these two bot laners trading farm reasonably closely here on this, and see how much more they can get done with this. It's Apollo and Hakuho getting the push lead.
Yeah, and I do actually want to double back onto that gank because I went back and checked. It appears that the Krugs are still up on Akaadian's minimap. And he actually tried to do an incredibly quick rush level 3 route. So he killed the Raptors, killed the red buff, then split the Krugs, didn't finish the camp because he got the experience off the first kill, and tried to surprise Seraph with a super fast level 3 gank. But it just was a clever move that he would otherwise hope to get first blood with. It didn't pay off. But that is a sacrifice now because he's left the Krugs up, hasn't cleared that camp, already taken half the experience away, and they're not on a respawn timer anymore. So that cost him a lot.
Right, he will have to come back and revisit that, and it won't exactly be worth the time anymore. Hakuho also gets to track Akaadian. They knew he recalled. They knew he'd go bot side, and it means that they know, yep, you did Gromp, you've done Wolves if we track your CS, and they really know everything that Akaadian's done so far. You can fight for bot scuttle, and you can take top Krugs. That's kind of it. Gate can't quite find much to do. Thankfully for him, wasn't silent. He got the leap away, but he's not finding those harass points just yet. But it's been an equal trade of farm, which you really can't harm him for too much.
And the one benefit of Gate on the support Camille is, while EnVy might feel like they'd have an advantageous matchup because they have the range support in Malzahar against what is a melee support in Camille. They can just never really go in with the assurance that they know what they're doing, because you don't get to practice against Camille support. So even if the Malzahar can actually win this matchup, EnVy has to be very cautious about how they go in. But look at this. This is what they want to do. Gate goes in and starts.
Yeah, oh, look at this. Now in the push for Akaadian, who doesn't have any summoners left. That should be an easy kill on Akaadian. Yet again, I think this is 14th or so first blood kill in the North American LCS, and not many more games than that.
Yeah, far and away the best first blood participation of all players in the LCS. And of all the first bloods, he only has like 1 assist. The rest are kills. Yeah. So he's usually able to last hit them as well. And that's exactly an example of why EnVy can't get too aggressive in that lane and try and abuse the Malzahar, because you look at this, he moved up just a little bit. They stun him with the Camille. That goes right into the Deadly Flourish. And he had to flash away almost before he even saw Akaadian. So post-flash, there's no getting around that Lee Sin. And the first blood is actually pretty easy for Echo Fox.
And Akaadian actually has some pretty clever pathing as well. I was tracking his camps for a bit, and his Raptors had respawned about 20 seconds ago, and it got pinged by EnVy saying, hey, you know, if he's going to farm, he's going to be on this side of the map. And instead, Akaadian spent about a straight minute just hiding in the bot side, like waiting for someone to be flanked. And it ended up lining up for him, and he got that kill, of course.
Yeah, and it does kind of come at a little bit of cost, because we've mentioned Akaadian already making that early sacrifice, not taking the entire Krug camp, and then also foregoing his Raptors right there, and they were taken away by LirA. So if you look at the gold of just the junglers,
LirA's ahead.
Yeah, by about 2 gold. But it's still the fact that the first blood, which is a 400 gold, is how much he is behind in farm. It's still an advantage for Echo Fox because they're able to get the assist gold onto Keith and Gate and prevent Apollo from farming. But if those ganks don't work, it's a pretty high cost for Akaadian, so good on him for executing.
Looks like Echo Fox looking for a bit more into the mid lane as well. Level 6 available on both mid laners, and Ninja going to be dove under the turret, hook shot into the stun, into all the skill shots they need. How do you get out of this one? Oh! Looks like he's going to have to force a flash to make it. Akaadian will die under the turret, gets the trade. But that is the mid laner out of the lane.
Yep, and a wave is most likely going to crash against that turret that Ninja can't get either, so ultimately worth for Froggen and Echo Fox. Froggen didn't have to use any of his summoner spells either. Akaadian still gets the gold. We'll just have to catch up in experience, and another proactive play by Echo Fox in the early game.
Yeah, nicely done. Heavy gank pressure from Akaadian, but again, worth pointing out, these kills are only equalizing the gold he's lost in the jungle matchup. So yes, 2 to 1 looks pretty good, but the gold difference only 200 here. Means the game is still pretty close. Looper matching equally with Seraph despite the early gank pressure. You can watch this fight again.
Yeah, Gate just going for the roam, getting the nice stun and an easy chain, and they were really expecting to be able to one-shot him, but he'd gone and gotten a very early Hex Drinker, so they didn't get the exact burst that they wanted, and Akaadian flashed to secure, but ended up costing him his life.
Yeah, and Gate should have held aggro, though. He had no reason to walk away so quickly. He had like 500 HP left. He's got 2 turret shots of tankiness left available, and he's actually the reason that Ninja gets a kill and that Akaadian dies.
Very true.
Gotta give him some flack for that. It is a misplay. Once again, fighting in the top side of the map, and Looper actually feels good level 6 because he can absorb all this damage from minions, turn it back on a Seraph, and start winning those trades.
Yeah, and I really want to wonder when LirA is going to get involved, because now is the time where he has to punish Akaadian. He knows he has a large experience advantage on Akaadian. Akaadian died at level 4 when LirA hit level 6. So he's going in for the counter jungling, and it's a matter of, is he confident enough to duel? Because he's getting collapsed on right now. Level 7, though, really big Rek'Sai.
He knows that they're nearby. He's going to jump over the wall. Nicely done by Froggen. Kicks him back out. Ward hops over, and that means LirA flash. But Looper now a bit alone, down to 500 HP. Make that 300 now. And I mean, it's a flash forced, but LirA gets a red buff steal. I can't say it's bad for EnVy.
Yeah, not a bad escape right there by LirA. But Ninja coming will put him further behind in the mid lane. Still think LirA's playing this okay, even though his ganks aren't necessarily landing, but being able to escape that mostly scot-free is very good.
Okay, so 200 gold difference right now in this game. Echo Fox still the slight lead as 20 minion difference for Froggen. It's gotta feel pretty great. Bot lane pretty close to trading equal. You can see the gold values in various players, and again, it's almost equal down the board. 300 gold lead for Seraph's got to feel pretty good, though. Looks like he's been killing more minions, a quick CS lead there. And hey, you know, I got to give props to EnVy for withstanding the best early game in North America right now and keep it within 200 gold. Like, very few teams can do this.
True,
and I got to give LirA props.
It's funny because this is kind of what we expected from EnVy. They are a good early game team. It's just a matter of them not being able to turn it into much later. So what we'll need to track is whether or not they can make any types of proactive plays with Hakuho and Apollo, 2 very good initiation ultimates. or specifically whether they can get enough vision of Echo Fox in the mid and late game, who, by the way, have a tremendous pick composition, especially when you add Camille into the mix. Everyone on that team can pick someone off on EnVy, and since EnVy's main weakness has been poor deep warding and vision control and a lot of face checking, it looks pretty grim, but if they are to improve, this would be a team composition that they can show their improvement against.
Absolutely. Worth pointing out, Gate, of course, has gone for a very defensive Keystone with the Courage of the Colossus. Of course, he's going to be an engager, so why wouldn't he? But no displacements on EnVy means that you either got to kill off Gate, or that person will be stuck inside the Hextech Ultimatum.
Yeah.
And again, you mentioned it's a very forward motion team, a lot of engage tools, great pick comp, and Gate no small part of this. Keith, unfortunately, cannot dodge the arrow. Nice shot by Apollo. It's going to be not yet a recall, actually. EnVy going to stay in lane with the tier stacking and good fair bit of poke, 600 damage dealt recently by Apollo.
Yeah, and to Keith's credit, he's been left alone in this lane a lot.
Yeah.
They were able to get first blood in the lane, which took the pressure away a little bit, but he's mainly just been stuck there trying to dodge piercing arrows and farm 1v2, so the fact that he's only down 8 CS is credit to him.
Definitely agree. Looper and Seraph still fighting back and forth. Worth noting they have both gone for the laning phase Keystone of Grasp of the Undying. Sometimes that can make a big difference. Courage of the Colossus not there for Looper means he will not be as tanky, but there's 3 melee champions to share the burden, so I think it does make sense to go for more of a laning phase Keystone in this regard. Q onto Ninja, flashes him in, the stun still lands! Pretty perfect execution, double shields keep him alive, and they want to re-engage on towards Froggen. The taunt's there, the burst damage is in, nice counter-engage. Team EnVy turning it right back around.
Yeah, I actually want to say that was a pretty play by both teams.
Yeah.
So the kick straight into a timed stun is really cute by Echo Fox, but because of the Hex Drinker and the timely Shen shield, it backfires, and the only mistake there is Froggen not flashing away from the Seraph taunt flash, because that could have prevented the counter kill. But with that, great job by Seraph.
Absolutely agree. Gate went a little bit frisky on a Ninja, misses the W, but either way has to juke back out of that one. Ninja staying alive, gets the wave clear and gets to start equalizing this lane a little bit more.
Yeah, we're going to watch this one more time. Great timing by Akaadian, kicks him immediately into Ninja, and then it is a full burst combo by Froggen, but right here, Froggen needs to flash. As soon as he sees Ninja Valk forward, especially when they see the Kazakhs, or sorry, the Rek'Sai in the river.
I do that wrong too.
Void monsters and stuff.
I know, right?
But that's pretty much it. It was a really good counter by EnVy.
Totally agree. So, Team EnVy actually holding a gold lead over Echo Fox 12 minutes into the game. Apollo still pressing in the bot lane. And you can see this turret getting very injured. It's down to about 1/4, and if you have LirA show up one more time into this lane, I feel like they can actually make this one fall down. The question is, can they get lane priority somewhere else? Ninja's usually been pushed around by Froggen, who Froggen himself opted into the Syndra against Corki matchup.
Yeah, but speaking of which, LirA immediately Rek'Sai ults down to the bottom side because Keith has taken the last 2 Varus Qs. Apollo's been hiding behind that Fog of War, shooting the Varus Q near the turret and hitting Keith. And that's just 2, that's 3 in a row. That's going to push Keith right off that turret.
Yeah, the rest of Echo Fox able to push Ninja away, and LirA comes back over to the mid side of the map, but if there's no marksman to clear the waves away, this could be enough damage coming out of Apollo and Hakuho. I feel like maybe they should pull the Malzahar in. Right now he's warding into the jungle to see what's going on. Nice little stun on Ninja. Denies a little bit of the farm. The flash is going to land, and Akaadian gets him out of the turret. Good setup by Froggen. Good execution, literally, by Akaadian.
Yeah, and Echo Fox have been going back to that mid lane over and over again because that is where their best kill is, they think, due to the burst of the Syndra. But quite honestly, Akaadian has his pick in this game. He's either ganking for a Maokai, who has spectacular gank assist, or for the Jhin and the Camille, who have spectacular gank assist. So most of the pressure would actually be on LirA to try and stop that from happening. He hasn't been able to do it. There Gate goes.
Flashes, but he's still going to have the follow. Gate locks him in. The stuns are there. That was pretty much perfect.
Wow.
Nice
They're
pick up there,
going
Echo
deep
Fox.
for that.
Getting some kills, but they knew he was alone. LirA now tracking Gate, and Gate, nice flash to interrupt it. That was absolutely beautiful by LirA. And Apollo gets himself the assist credit. 3-4.
Yeah, the only way EnVy was going to be able to get a kill back. But we mentioned how deep Echo Fox is going for that kill, and the fact that it's traded back and the teleport was used actually means EnVy can transition this straight into an Infernal Drake, not to mention they've already been able to get the first turret, so this is going to actually turn into a pretty good early game lead.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, you mentioned the first turret goal. That was a big deal. It wasn't as sexy, but the fact that Apollo and Hakuho got 2 to 3 kills worth of team gold by persistently pushing that bot lane down, and a lot of that was Apollo landing infinite numbers of piercing arrows.
Yeah.
got them 1,000 gold.
Yep, combination of factors we'll touch on in just a minute, but he breaks the passive from Hakuho, ults right in. Nice Syndra stun over the wall from Froggen, but right here, Froggen low on mana, Akaadian and Gate completely cut off. So they kind of pick and choose. Akaadian finds a way out, Gate doesn't because he thinks he's going to make a cute play with his hook shot, but LirA interrupts it. So it's a huge why do I keep saying Kazakhs? Because we see so much Kazakhs.
Yeah.
It's a huge Rek'Sai in this game, basically just power farming while Akaadian goes around and picks up 4 kills, and guess what? Is up 300 gold. So LirA potentially able to do work if he keeps this up.
Except 300 gold against someone with 4 kills.
Yeah.
Like, that is actually pretty good stuff right here by LirA, and of course the rest of Team EnVy doing pretty well in this game. Winning overall. Quick blue buff to Froggen shouldn't be a problem. Okay, it almost stole it, but had enough patience to not make that go down. 1,400 gold lead, Team EnVy. And again, the mantra is always, is this the match where EnVy turns it around? We gotta wait 5 more minutes to figure out if it's gonna keep going this way. Looper pushing Seraph out of the lane. Seraph, of course, still has the ulti, so he can leave lane. Looper cannot. Maybe we see EnVy make another play to the bot side of the map. Of course, Hakuho has another grasp skill available. Hasn't been able to use it to much effect yet, but that may change. Ninja's tried to find a way to roam out of the map. It really hasn't gotten much to do. A 40 minion lead for Froggen. A lot of that the hard work of his teammates ganking for him, but...
Oh yeah, they have been mostly camping that mid lane, but even though they have been doing that, as we mentioned, LirA's been making up for most of the farm, most of the kills with farm, and then it is a 600 gold advantage for Froggen since Froggen actually hasn't been picking up the kills, and they didn't get any turret damage.
Right.
So the overall gold advantage still falls to EnVy because they've just been pegging down Keith over and over again with those piercing arrows and eventually pushing him off the turret.
And we'll see if anything more can happen. Apollo has been moved, of course, to playing mid lane wave clear duty. The map opened up slightly by the 1 turret kill, and it means you can change up your lane assignments. Corki going to be splitting up against the Maokai in the top side, interestingly. And we'll see Seraph maybe run down towards the bottom side soon enough. He is going over there, but it's a 3-man pressure from Echo Fox right now. Keith, of course, not the fastest turret killer, and no help yet from Akaadian. Echo Fox really not putting in the time to knock this turret down yet. They're instead reacting to mid lane pressure, but instead it's EnVy actually continuing to move around the map. They're going for top lane instead. They say, yeah, you've got to control mid. We're going to go kill top.
And EnVy has really good control in that side of the jungle. It's all about who can abuse the side they have picked. Notice the 3 blue wards up top and the 3 red wards down bottom. Akaadian can't get anything on Seraph. Meanwhile, both teams just conceding turrets.
And smart by Seraph, he's got so little vision control, but realizes I'm going to be 3v1. I cannot defend the turret. Seraph not dying is a play that, again, doesn't look sexy, but it's actually a very smart play to not give away a kill when everyone else on your team is on the other side of the map from you.
Yep, good job of playing defense, and now it's the question of can they rotate faster than Echo Fox. Echo Fox actually trying to keep up a little bit right now. Ninja's trying to finish off that turret in the top lane, and Echo Fox is trying to respond to the mid lane.
Looks like the pressure was enough. Looper, in a similar vein, had to back off the top side because he was going to get 1v3'd, and it is a trade of top lane outer for bot lane outer. Very similar plays made by both teams. And mid lane didn't really receive much pressure overall anyway, so that was just a trade. And now we'll see what the next big play is going to be. Next Drake still going to be several minutes out. Cloud Drake, usually not the most sought after by pro teams. LirA taking more and more away from Akaadian's jungle. Still level 11, almost 12 to Akaadian still being 10. He's got the kills, but he's getting outscaled.
I think so as well. Lee Sin in the hands of very capable players can still have a good amount of teamfight influence. But what's going to be super interesting to me in this game is whether or not EnVy can utilize the split push Shen, who has a very slight advantage on Looper, and then use that to orchestrate plays, because it's pretty dangerous against all the pick that Echo Fox has in their team composition to try and play that back and forth game, and it's something that EnVy hasn't been able to do. And I feel like if you are that EnVy diehard fan, this does sound like a bit of a broken record, because this happens almost every single game. EnVy with a small gold lead, running up to 20 minutes, but they will ultimately lose the game. So once again, they get another shot at it.
And this time around, at least, they didn't give away Drake control while playing for turret objectives. When they played against the Meteos-helmed Phoenix 1, Meteos soloed about 4 Drakes in a row in the first game, and even though EnVy had control, they were bleeding small things back over, and P1 got the eventual comeback. Here, EnVy are actually keeping everything a little bit contained, so it's, almost looks better than the lead they had against P1. And we'll see if this one transitions a bit more nicely. The Infernal Break, of course, very good at keeping your lead. You get the more stats, you get better fights.
Exactly, and the other thing you have to keep in mind when you're talking about these scaling comps and fighting is just where the kill distribution is. And I feel like for Echo Fox, having all 4 kills on Akaadian is a very poor distribution of kills if they're looking at what an ideal scenario would be. They want their kills on pretty much anyone else.
Yeah, even Camille would be a decent one.
Even Camille would be great, because if you get tanky and he wants to be able to keep the Hextech ultimatum up, that's probably better, because late game, the Lee Sin is a displacement bot. He wants to get the kick on the right person, and he has a little bit of dueling threat, but once you're at 35 or 40 minutes, his items don't matter that much. Yeah. So, not great, since Akaadian hasn't been able to snowball those 4 kills into a large team advantage, and that, again, is an advantage to Envy.
Absolutely. Sometimes the gold just doesn't tell the whole story right here, and the lead might be really in value worth more than 1,500. Cloud Drake spawning right now, and Envy do have all of their members, aside from the Shen, on this side of the map. So they've learned some of the lessons from yesterday's match, and looking to keep the Drake control will help them in the late game, absolutely. Can't quite kill away that ward, but they still have control over this river right here. And Echo Fox just going to have the meek push towards the blue buff. Shouldn't have any problems. Oh, it got pulled out, but there we go. Nice run away. LirA wants to smite it. He sent it so far back, and okay, nicely done by Froggen, grabs the blue buff.
Yeah, I forget who I was it you casting yesterday saying how you almost never see that messed up by a Syndra in pro play?
Yeah.
Once again, able to pull it at low enough health that they can combo the WQ before it will run back at a very fast speed since you pulled it so far away. Good job by Echo Fox doing that once again.
Yep. Gonna be okay in this one. LirA also gonna control the Scuttle Crab, and they haven't gotten to start the Drake just yet. Echo Fox had kind of matched them in time, but Envy still have the vision control, and you expect this to go their way soon. They've pushed in the mid lane, and that's going to be enough to make the pressure. Generally by the book shot calling, push the waves, then go for the neutral. They got the wards already, so this is a pretty tried and true Drake take. And just by having the 30 seconds of patience of not actually team fighting for it, they get an easily secured objective, and I've got to give, you know, a solid 1 thumbs up to Team Envy for the way they played that last minute of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you, and Echo Fox will need to find a way of countering that. Or will they, is actually the question when we're watching these Envy games, just because we've seen Envy with 5,000 gold, 10,000 gold, Baron, Elder Drake type teams and still not be able to close. So this could be influencing why Echo Fox is playing so passive, because they don't want to throw the game away, so to speak, by running into Envy, and they're almost maybe thinking of making them do a proactive play. But we don't really know. Maybe this is actually Echo Fox just not knowing what to do with the deficit here.
Sure. I know we've heard some things from that as well, where they don't always know how to play from behind a lot of the times. And considering the fact that in all of their matches they're playing from ahead, how much practice do you really get when Akaadian first bloods every game he ever plays? Yeah. That's only a slight exaggeration, to be honest here. So maybe a test for Echo Fox and a test for Team Envy, and you know, both a little bit out of their element, I suppose, to some extent here. Ninja able to wave clear pretty nicely, playing the split push Corki, getting lots of farm, but still 50 down under Froggen. Keith doing his best to stay equal with Apollo. And we continue to wait for more important things to happen. Scuttlecrab control on the top side. Echo Fox will have the slight edge towards Baron for a minute. Almost loses it, but deals the damage in time.
Yeah, mid lane turrets, potentially the next battleground. That's really one of the keys to opening up this map. When Envy wants to set up a siege in the mid lane turret is when they are most vulnerable to a teleport flank from Looper's Maokai. But they do need to kill that turret to try and extend their lead.
Gate got a little bit afraid there, but Hakuho didn't pull the trigger on a flash ult. I don't know if he was quite in range. It was close, but
true.
That maybe with the right amount of tenacity would have actually been a kill on the gate. Didn't go for it here. Also interesting, Hakuho, most Malzahars do not go cooldown boots. They do go Mobies. So Hakuho, a slightly different build himself.
Fox wants to kill here.
Here we go, jumping in, and then he lands the stun on a Ninja. He's got no way out, but can they burst him in time because Shen is arriving? Ults after the exhaust, the shields are high. One more shot, no, he flashes the Q, and they still get the 1 trade kill against Gate. 1 for 0 in favor of Envy. Looper wants in, though that'll be the damage you've got to assume. And now it's Seraph with the rest of the team starting to rotate up, but Akaadian and Keith are far away, so Looper is stranded for a little while here. Push them away, buy some time, but Hakuho's in for the ulti. Voidlings are down, plenty of damage to deal, and Looper does not have a way out of this one. 2 for 1 advantage, Team Envy.
And Seraph has been very clutch, shutting down these Syndra executes that Echo Fox continues to try and do. So once again, really good initiation by Gate, basically stopping Ninja out of his Valkyrie. But then it actually looked like either the QE missed by Froggen, or the damage was just completely absorbed by Seraph's Stand United shield, and it does get ultimately turned around. by EnVy to get the kill back on a Looper.
I love the unintentional pun, by the way. Ultimately turned around. Good job to Seraph.
That is one of my crutch words, so we're going to get a lot of accidental puns there.
That's okay. I wanted to point that one out and give you credit where credit's due. Into the mid lane they go. Of course, they won the team fight, and Team EnVy retains map control, and that means they can make this 3-1 in turrets. And hey, chat, it's after 20 minutes, and they're doing better. EnVy up 3,000.
Here we go. Watching this one more time. Yeah, it looks like the Q doesn't quite land on Ninja in that play. The Hex Drinker once again saves. Exhaust is actually quite late by Gate after he'd taken the majority of the damage. But then, of course, Looper can come in. Little assistance from Froggen, gets the kill. And here's an example of why we see Shen into Maokai a lot. When he's successfully able to get the pass through from his Q and do the 7% max health damage each shot, it's a lot. But there's a fight in the mid lane right now.
And just one-shot Froggen with the crit, and he's going to look for a little bit more. Keith flashing over the wall, pretty close on the Gate as well. That's a double kill already. Pick up the mid laner, make that a third as Gate's going down. The execution goes over to Seraph, and this now means Baron unless Akaadian can steal.
Is this it for EnVy? This could be a massive lead. Already up 5,000 gold. Add the Baron to that, and that'll be 6,000 or 7,000. Then there's the second tier of outer turrets, which usually go down with the first Baron. So EnVy trying to kind of play like they did against Team Liquid when they had that 2-0 2 weeks ago, and also keep the Echo Fox odd week curse alive.
Yeah, absolutely. This is I think maybe the actual most surprising result out of Echo Fox so far this season. The fact that they are losing right now in this match. We can watch that mid lane fight again. We came in a little bit late.
Yeah, both teams just trying to get that outer turret down in the mid lane, and Froggen is at half health by the time this fight starts, and even though the Varus ultimate flies wide, Froggen checks right into a control ward, which blocks the vision, and gets completely bursted by Ninja, but there was also nowhere for him to run because LirA and Seraph had flanked around the backside. So Echo Fox scattered since they were starting that fight from so low. All things considered, they really shouldn't have been trying to siege that turret in what could be a 5v5 collapse when they're at such low health.
Yeah, it turns out that ended up going poorly for them, and the shot calling from behind so far not paying dividends for Echo Fox. EnVy doing pretty well for themselves, and I want to give some props to Ninja. I think he did several things very smart this game. So one, of course, he runed defensively, had magic resist glyphs, but he understood that he was the primary target. Rushed X Drinker. When he went towards Trinity Force, he went Ruby Crystal first as well. He tried so hard to withstand the fact that he is obviously the key target that's getting bursted out the whole time. And with all the shields, with the help from Seraph, and the fact that he only has 3 deaths when he's getting 3v1 for half the game is honestly, to me, a very good play by him.
Yeah. He has had a rough year as well. Had a few games where he's had a bunch of deaths, but now the question will be, he's ruined defensively, he's built relatively defensively based on the matchup, but can he position properly for this next set of sieges? We talked about the second tier of turrets being the target for EnVy. They've already gotten one. The goal is to get the next 2 in these next 2 minutes of the Baron. That'll judge their success. Echo Fox trying to turn around.
Oh, and they've got to jump onto the back line. By the way, LirA has found Keith. Meanwhile, on the front side, it's Ninja actually getting hit up, but not going down. He is durable enough to withstand it. And one of the backline kills come through as Akaadian is dropped off the map as well. 2 for 0 yet again to Team EnVy. Froggen forced to run far away and go for the recall, but there's more in the eyes of the blue team here, pushing in for the mid lane tier 2 turret. Here's the wave. That's going to be a turret kill. And man, Seraph just hitting level 16 before that to rank up his ultimate, making his shield now with the AP he has from Baron buff, a 923-point shield. If he wasn't level 16 and his shield's 150 to 200 points weaker, maybe that actually kills Ninja. But these are the margins that EnVy's able to be winning on, and they just blow open this game. And they're going to take down the middle inhibitor in 28 minutes on this one, and quick reset later, they can take more of the map. Ocean Drake's available to be taken. LirA maintains the minion waves in the bot side of the map, and this means that Echo Fox can't even get anything on the respawn because there's just nothing even close to a turret kill. Even though the rest of the team is alive, there's still a minute of Baron to fight against, and watch that fight again. Yeah, and the initiation is on a Ninja. We were just talking about it. He needs to be in the right position. He's actually not, but he gets saved because of the Shen and the Hex Drinker. He did have about 300 health to spare, so he would have lived regardless of Seraph hitting level 16 or not. But if EnVy is able to save him in those situations and turn the fights around, all power to him, because it is working this game. I absolutely agree, and it's a 10,000 gold lead. Baron buff not even done just yet. Paulo gets to grab a nice, easy blue buff for himself, and well, Team EnVy looking to close this one out, and they haven't gotten many game wins so far this season. Maybe this starts to feel a little bit better. Echo Fox have a long way to go if they want to come back into this one. I don't know if they can resign themselves just thinking about game 2. This is maybe a game you can fight for, but It will take a lot to get back in.
It's true, and Echo Fox does have, as we mentioned, so much initiation in this team composition, but that does come at the sacrifice of a little bit of sustained damage. Syndra is not known as your, tank shredder. Neither is Jhin, neither is Maokai. No one can really kill Seraph, or LirA for that matter, in these fights, so that's why they're consistently trying to jump on Ninja. But when they're not even killing him in the fights, they completely lose, because not only have they now committed into the backline of Envy, they are stuck with no damage, facing up against these huge tanks. So falling behind, quite devastating in this particular situation.
Absolutely agree. Now Team EnVy have only won 3 individual games all season long, and this would be number 4 if they can close it out. By all rights, they should be able to win this one, and this is maybe a game even Team EnVy will have a hard time losing. I'll knock the rest of this down. I mean,
say that.
I don't really mean it as a major insult. Like, I want to give them props, because this honestly is a better game they've played almost the entire season so far, and
they've been
I want to spin it into an insult yet.
They've been stuffing most of Echo Fox's initiations. It would, if this was any other team, you'd say the game is over already. But this is something that EnVy needs to be able to prove to the rest of the league that they can do, because they've had such a hard time closing out on leads. They haven't had leads necessarily this big, but they've been very close to this big. And with just one inhibitor down, they need to break that second set of the base. And they actually need to kill the Nexus, because that is when we're going to be willing to say they're victors. And we are willing to call a lot of other games early based on teams with better track record.
Absolutely, but this one, still, you got to make us believe in you, Team EnVy. And right now, Ocean Drake has been gone down. The next one will spawn, I guess, just before 36 minutes. And there will be a much later Elder Dragon this game. Baron up in 2, though, and we'll see if EnVy can crack an inhibitor before that spawn comes in, or if they're just going to sit and wait and bide their time and play for ward control. Right now, they don't have really any wards for a Baron play. Again, it's not going to spawn for a while, but at some point you got to think about that. Hakuho, traditionally very low warding stats, and we'll see if he recalls for the recharge on the Sight Stone anytime soon. Bit of damage on a gate and Akaadian, and he will wait a little bit longer. Right now has 3 stacks in his Sight Stone, so he's got some to put down when he needs to.
Yep, it's just a matter of having Seraph set up on one side. With Baron down, it's going to be a little more difficult to get this. If they were able to get the turret without Baron, that would be an even more promising sign, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they just try and keep the game set in this Fox defending their base while they're still able to farm all 3 lanes, and then waiting until the Baron comes up and kind of forcing Fox to come into them in that 1-minute spawn.
All right, well, waiting around 57 seconds until Baron spawns, and look at this. The call is, all right, guys, Baron's under a minute. Everyone reset, spend your money, buy some elixirs. You got about 7,000 gold, 6,000 to 7,000 gold in the inventories right now of Team EnVy, so spend that. Make sure your gold lead is actually here. And let's go ahead and play for this Baron Nashor. LirA taking a scuttle. It's kind of useless, but he'll be the last one to recall the rest of the team. Double Sightstone team, of course. Keep in mind, both LirA and Hakuho have the ability to put wards down. And now it's about Team EnVy getting control. Akaadian spending this time to get wards of his own. If they can clear those away soon enough. And we'll see how quickly all these red wards die. You can see them on the minimap. There's about 5 wards all around the Baron pit right now that Echo Fox put down during the reset. But a control ward by Seraph in the pit's going to kill some of them. And he's going to find Akaadian.
Yeah, and a lot of it is about EnVy just avoiding getting picked off. Seraph doesn't actually have to worry. Look at the damage he's got right now with that Titanic Hydra.
Down to 1/3 HP, and suddenly there's no jungler in the fight. Gate actually flashes away from battle he jumped into. And now EnVy got control of the Baron area.
Sets up the Baron beautifully. They still have pretty much all of their initiation skills. Didn't have to burn any summoner spells on the way, and Echo Fox is going to be pushed into an incredibly defensive position. Also a fun fact to kind of show what a rough year it has been for EnVy up until this point. They have 3 game wins, 16 game losses for that overall match record of 1-8. And this would be, if they win, the first game they have won with Hakuho on a champion not named Zyra.
True.
They've only won the 3 games when he's been on Zyra, so a team that had a lot of champion diversity last split, trying to find success on something different here with the Malzahar.
Yep. But it's pointed to some of the ways that EnVy have won their early games and closed things out as games where they have a bot lane lead. Zyra kind of the queen lane bully. And EnVy got first turret just kind of by 2-on-2ing the bot lane. There was almost no interference at all. It was just Apollo and Hakuho winning the 2-on-2 straight up despite getting ganked. And now here comes the play. Gate wants in, looks for the steal, not going to grab it. Ninja claims this, and now Gate Not a lot of places to go. Is going to drop down first. 1 kill already. Looking for Hakuho. Quick stun on a Froggen. Seraph doesn't get much done. They've got a trade kill, but looks like more is going in for Ninja. 2-1 so far in the fight. Baron buff still on. Akaadian gets a kickback. He's going to drop to Ninja as well. And look at the kills flying in for the Corki player. A triple kill for the mid laner. Keith running for the wings, but it's not going to be enough. Into the base they go. They've still got a giant minion wave with Baron. This could be the game over.
Yeah, and already a cannon minion that was unable to be cut off by Keith as he was zoned out of the fight. LirA gonna easily mop up this kill eventually, you would think. Come on.
Cute.
What?
He's gonna go for the game. Doesn't seem to care at all. Doesn't matter. Maybe he missed him. I don't know.
Looking for him.
All right. Well,
Either
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Team EnVy this time around are gonna close it out. They've got their 4th game win. They took game 1 against Echo Fox. And maybe this is the time they actually turn the season around. Maybe the improvements are really coming through. Game 1 secured. Well played, Team EnVy.
Absolutely, and they're gonna need to close this one out because you can see they're clearly not elated as of yet. It is just the one game. They would need to be able to close out Echo Fox, and it's a very important game, as you mentioned, for both teams. EnVy wanting to go into the small little break we have on a bit of a positive note, and Echo Fox wanting to try to make it into the playoffs. But this game in particular was a little bit of a start-to-finish victory for EnVy. They were never down more than 1,000 gold in this game against Echo Fox. They gained that decent-sized gold lead at 20 minutes and then closed it before 35, so a pretty solid game, all things considered.
Yeah, got to agree. That was, as you said, from start to finish, in control the whole time. Ninja withstood the pressure pretty well. LirA got out-ganked, but still out-farmed Akaadian to the point where it didn't really matter. Almost to Akaadian's detriment, he got all the kills because it meant that the actual carries of the team weren't getting that influx of money. And as we're going to be breaking down this game, we've got replays to cover. So the first one is going to be a 2-for-1 on the top side that EnVy had come away with. They just kind of kept winning these mid-game fights.
Yeah, and it was the skirmishes, and so much of it did center around Seraph Shen, because they would go for Ninja, since that's what everyone has been doing, and they wouldn't be able to burst him. Froggen wouldn't have enough damage to go through the Hex Drinker and the Shen shield, and then when they returned to the fight, the sustained damage of Corki was so high, not to mention the sustained damage of Shen actually is higher than Maokai. So even though Maokai finishes off Ninja here, look at how low Seraph gets Looper just with the percent health damage from passing through his Q. You get a big bonus in attack speed boost when you do that. Then it's just a matter of EnVy also beating them to the spot. Notice how far back Keith is on this rotation. They finish off Looper. No one else on Echo Fox can lend the support, and it's another pretty solid win for EnVy there.
Yeah, and speaking of solid wins for EnVy, more clips to show you guys. The basically fight that turns into the first major Baron, that essentially the game-winning play at this point, a 3-for-0 that turns into even more as EnVy keep winning team fights.
Yeah, and this was only about 25 minutes into the game, so Echo Fox had set up a siege, but look at all the damage they kind of take from the turret and random Varus Qs, and then Ninja comes in from the flank. Froggen had no vision. He was trying a blind stun, but he was completely surrounded at this point, and Looper wasn't even there without teleport. So honestly, a very poor setup by Echo Fox, but the appropriate response by EnVy to punish them very well.
Yeah, Akaadian wasn't close as well. You can watch him up for that entire clip, and neither Akaadian nor Looper get to do anything, and it's a 3v4 or a 3v5 in some cases. You can see very low damage numbers actually came out of that Lee Sin. By the way, that 4K is actually rounding up. He did 39.75, less than the Camille. And this is a 4-kill Lee Sin. Yeah, he got the last hits, but again, not a lot of things done otherwise, which unfortunate to him. He's normally a great player, but you can see the 20,000 coming out of Corki, obviously a very high mark.
Exactly, an Echo Fox team composition that was built around picking people off that just couldn't secure kills against the Shen. That Shen was the big blocker of all blockers. Then they randomly had a Hex Drinker on the guy they kept trying to kill. I think if Echo Fox wanted to do this game again, they would go bot lane over and over and over again, because the Camille Jhin setup is nearly inescapable, and there were no Hex Drinkers down there. But that's not the way the game played out, and EnVy did a great job turning fights around.
Yep, so props Team EnVy for the Game 1 win. Now we're going to see if they can do it again, but after our teams regroup, we will return for Game 2 of Echo Fox versus Team EnVy. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more League of Legends.
Nice, nice.
I TP here. Block. Maokai first. Oh, Syndra. No play. Okay, Maokai. Listen. You can solo kill.
Nice job.
Nice. End the game.